Okay, what's up, everybody? I'm Sherry coming at you live from OP and the Big D. That's Odyssey Pets in Dallas, Texas. This month it's RAWGUST. Hold on, I got a picture here. There we go. It's RAWGUST. And I created this month to celebrate raw and lightly cooked diets for pets and educate why these types of foods are probably the best thing you could feed your dog or cat. And we're running some great specials on select brands, including Stella and Chewys. And today we have the opportunity to spend some time with Jason from Stella and Chewys. We'll talk about the brand and why raw and lightly cooked foods are so awesome. So Jason, how are you?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for having me on this presentation.
Sure thing. So for those of you unfamiliar with Stella and Chewys, Jason, can you give us a quick rundown?
Yeah, absolutely. So Stella and Chewys, we've been around since 2003, really built on a raw food. That's our whole mission here. So starting out, our founder was actually creating her own raw foods to help with her pets. Saw amazing results with that, and just realized, hey, there's other people who could benefit from this, other people who want to provide their pets this opportunity. And then from that was able to grow into a much larger business. Now we're based out in the Milwaukee, Wisconsin area. We're doing frozen raw, freeze-dried raw coated kibbles, gently cooked foods like the Marie's Kitchen behind Sherry there, all kinds of stuff, really with the focus of minimally processed and best-in-class nutrition.
Awesome. Yeah, you guys have grown like exponentially in the past decade. It's been pretty amazing to see. So I love it when a small like family run company that's doing good makes it big. So
yeah, it's been fun to watch.
So let's talk nutrition. There's so much we could talk about as far as raw and the gently cooked, but what are some points that you want to touch on?
Yeah. So I haven't been able to watch your other presentations yet with the other companies, but as I'm sure many of them have touched on, raw nutrition is just the way that a dog is biologically built to digest food, right? Our founder, Marie Moody, she says dogs don't have thumbs. They can't build campfires. They don't cook their meat, right? They were eating raw meat. And so that's what we built this on, is the biologically appropriate way for them to digest food. That's high meat, some produce, to be able to, almost like what they would get in the stomachs or something like that. To kind of get a little bit dark, but and then really like high fat, high protein, having that bone in there, and that's really what our food is all built on. Our frozen and freeze dried diets are going to be 90 to 95% meat, bone, and organ, and with only 5 to 10% supplements, maybe some produce, things like that.
So I heard you mention high fat, and I just wanted to touch on that because a lot of people are confused. They think if they have and I said this in some of the other interviews, but I come across it almost every day. Fat works differently in dogs than it does in us. Absolutely. So yeah, carbs is what's going to make them fat. High fat is what you want because they turn that into energy.
Right.
So yeah, high fat is actually good unless your dog has something like pancreatitis. So, yeah. But yeah, pretty much raw. If somebody's watching that doesn't know exactly what it is, they take the meat, the bone, a little bit of veg, ground it all up, and then they put it into a different form, like a medallion or a patty. Or like this one here, these are morsels, so it looks like it's like the size of a kibble. And this is convenient because you can just scoop it out kind of like a kibble, let it sit on the counter for 20 minutes, and then it's good to feed.
Yeah, a lot more convenient than a big patty.
Now, I will say if you have a larger dog or you're feeding multiple dogs, it is more cost effective to buy the bigger chunks of the meat.
That's true.
But the enzymes in the raw food, in the meat, help break down plaque and tartar. So if you fed this exclusively, you would almost never have to have your dog's teeth cleaned.
Yeah.
Gosh, there's just so many things. There's so many things. You got any other points?
I want to touch on the oral health, and I think we might have talked about this on the past video where we talked about freeze-dried. One of the coolest things about raw, in my opinion, is that oral health, right? So there's an enzyme that a lot of animals have, any animal that does eat some kind of vegetable, called amylase, right? And amylase is an enzyme that breaks down carbohydrates. Now, we have that enzyme in our mouth. It's in our saliva, and so when we eat a carbohydrate, say we eat a potato chip, right? It's going to start breaking down pretty much immediately. Dogs don't have amylase in their saliva. They don't have it until it's in their stomach. And so by having a diet high in carbohydrates, all those carbs are going to stick to our teeth, right? So like imagine you ate a big bag of Lay's potato chips. You're going to have all that stuff still in your mouth, kind of clinging to your mouth. And you know, our mouth is designed to be able to break that down and fully digest so that doesn't happen. Dogs don't have that. So those carbohydrates are just going to cling to their teeth. And that's where you see a lot of the, you know, plaque and tartar buildup.
That's a great visual. I actually didn't think about it like that. I always say to people, if you think your dog's kibble is cleaning their teeth, that's like us eating a pretzel and say, I just brushed my teeth.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, our food does have bone as well. And bone is how, there's a lot of benefits to bone, but bone is one of the many ways that dogs do clean their teeth in the wild, is by having that bone almost like an abrasive to kind of knock stuff off their teeth. Most effective when they're chewing on a bone, but to some degree in eating as well.
I'm a big fan of raw bones as like a recreational thing to do. So, okay. So I want to touch on real quick too, because some people have the question of, I can't afford to go all raw, or I'm scared to go all raw. You could do like 1 meal raw, 1 meal kibble. You could use it as a topper. Yeah.
So to kind of jump in here, so my philosophy on it, and Stella and Chewy's philosophy on it, is incorporate as much raw as you can, to whatever degree you're comfortable, right? Even if that's just giving, you know, freeze-dried raw treats, or, you know, we don't sell raw bones, but there's some great raw bones out there. That's still incorporating raw nutrition they wouldn't be getting elsewhere. You know, it could be mixing in meal mixers, which is our small kibble-sized freeze-dried pieces. We've got the magical dust, which is just a powdered form of our freeze-dried kibble, or our freeze-dried patties that you can dust on top of kibble. You know, there's so many different degrees of adding raw to the diet that Stella and Chewy's can help you with, right? So even we've got an entire line of kibble that is raw coated, right? So maybe you're like, hey, I can't do anything but kibble. It's just not going to make sense in my house. Why not get a kibble that already has that freeze-dried raw coating on it? You don't have to worry about it, and they're getting that raw nutrition. And then step up from there even to go into our raw blends, where it's raw coated and it's got pieces of freeze-dried mixed in with the food.
Yeah, you guys really got your bases covered on all that.
Yeah. We want to make it as easy as possible. If you want raw in your diet, we've got a way we can make it work for you.
So now a lot of people are scared about the salmonella and touching the raw meat, but I just want to say dogs have like a pH of 1, I think, in their stomachs. They can break salmonella down. The problem is you touch it and then you don't wash your hands. So just wash your hands.
Yeah, and I jump on that too. We use a process called HPP, which is high pressure processing. It's a somewhat controversial topic for some folks who are really into raw feeding. We do it for safety purposes. Basically, what happens is all of our freeze-dried food goes into, it's like wrapped and then put into a water chamber with cold water, and then the pressure is increased to the point where no pathogens could survive. So it's something like some degree of the pressure of, you know, the ocean. It's very, very high pressure, killing off any potential pathogens. So you don't have to worry about, you know, salmonella, E. coli, things like that.
Right.
Not that it would affect the dog. They certainly can handle it, but just to be more generally healthy. And another way you might have heard HPP referred to is cold pressing. So like if you've heard of cold pressed juices, things like that. A lot of deli meats go through HPP. It's really not a scary process. It just makes things overall safer.
And I will say this, that because of things like that and Stella and Chewy's and a lot of my other raw companies, they get tested more so than even human food.
Absolutely.
So this raw food that we have here is going to be cleaner than what you can buy, at your local Tom Thumb. So
yeah. And the way I had it explained to me years ago was if you were to buy raw meat from a butcher, from the grocery store, however, that's being sold to you under the assumption that it's going to be cooked. So they're not as concerned about E. coli and things like that or salmonella is probably the more applicable one, because they're assuming you're going to throw it on a grill or throw it in the oven or whatever. And so they're like, anything that could be on there is going to die. Whereas our products are sold under the assumption they will be served raw. And so we have to be even more careful to make sure those don't exist.
All right. This leads me into the next thing. So if you're watching and you still can't wrap your mind around feeding raw meat, there is now a segment of the market called gently cooked or lightly cooked food. So I got a bag of they just launched this. This is Marie's Kitchen gently cooked. I have the chicken and the beef in the store. And then there's like what it looks like. There's like little pieces. What is that? Zucchini?
Yeah, zucchini and red bell peppers.
Nice. Yeah, it looks like something we would eat,
Exactly, yeah. And it smells like something we would eat. Once you thaw it out, I had a lot of people add warm water to it just to get it to thaw, and it kind of makes like a soup, and it smells like meat. It is. It's a lot of meat. And so it smells like a hot bowl of soup.
Nice.
Yeah.
So how do you guys cook it? Is it sous vide? What's going on?
Yeah, so the way it was explained to me, it's essentially a giant crock pot. So it's not sous vide since it's not cooked in the bag, but it's essentially a slow simmer that is, brought up to temperature slowly, and it's never going to be like super high cooked. Let me see if I can find a exact temperature for you. I'm just going to quick check. I think, gently cooked in small batches at 165 degrees for 7 hours, which is where you get that, a crock pot analogy, if you will. Low temperature for a really long period of time, so that you're not getting super high temperatures that are killing off micronutrients and things like that.
And there's like kelp and kale in here too, pumpkin. This is really good stuff. I would think this is great for dogs that may have sensitive stomachs as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
it's very simple. While it does have quite a few ingredients, they're all ingredients you would eat at home. It's a pretty simple ingredient panel.
And I run into people that make their own dog's food at home all the time.
Yeah.
But I worry about getting all of your vitamins correct. Right. So if you want to take the guesswork out of it, you could try a product like this.
Exactly.
Yeah. You got anything to add about the new line?
No, it is new. We've had it for only a few months. It has done very well. Everyone I've talked to that's tried it has said it feeds phenomenally well. It's something their dogs are super interested in. Having the pumpkin and things like that for the stomach are going to be great as well. So definitely give it a try. Definitely
a good topper choice as well, because it's already in like little tiny nuggets. So
absolutely, yeah. If you want to mix up it does have bone broth in there. But if you want to mix up some bone broth, or buy some of ours, that'd be great. And put that, a mixture of the chunks of meat, the vegetables, and some bone broth over the top of a kibble, your dog's going to go crazy for it. Nice.
All right. Okay. Well, we just got a couple more people watching. But yeah, we're almost done, I think. Unless did you want to add anything else?
No, I will say some of the big I'll talk about this. We talked about this last time as well with the freeze dried. I want to go ahead and hit on it. One thing that makes our frozen raw meals dinner are different than some of the competition is that meat content, right? It's very much just a different approach. Pick what you like. I mentioned, our dinners are going to be 90 to 95% meat for dog, 95 to 98 for cat. The reason we do that is we do believe that dogs are true carnivores and they need as much meat as possible. Now, in order to be a safe and balanced diet, you do have to have other vitamins and minerals and things like that. That's how you get all the certifications you need to say that you're balanced. So we do add in vitamins. There are other companies that will add in produce in order to get those vitamins, which is great. It's just going to come down to what do you prefer and what does your dog have the most success on? Is it having as much meat as possible, or is it having those more naturally sourced vitamins and minerals? There's really no wrong answer there, but that is one way we're different than some of our competitors.
Right on.
Yeah.
Good.
And I want to say too, we do make all of our frozen meals in-house in our plant in Milwaukee. All of our frozen raw dinners are made in our facility.
I love that. You're not jobbing it out to somewhere else.
Right. And there are a few things that we do co-pack and work with partners on. It's not a bad thing, but by doing the raw in-house, we're able to have a lot more control and oversight on how things are operated.
Awesome. And I don't know if we touched on this, but where are you sourcing your proteins?
Yeah, good question. So most of our proteins come from North America. There are a few that come from Western Europe. And then like the venison comes from Australia and New Zealand. I believe like the rabbit comes from France. That's the Western Europe one. But the vast majority of our proteins are coming from either the US or Canada.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's the case with most of the good companies around here.
If you're going to pay for high quality, you want to know where your stuff's coming from.
And y'all probably list all that on your website.
Yeah.
I would think. Okay.
We do, yeah. It's not always the easiest to find if you go looking for it. And if you are really curious, one thing you can do is every bag of Stella and Chewys has a lot code on it. If you enter that lot code onto our website, you'll get some information about that. Also, we have a really good customer support team as well. So if you ever have a specific question, obviously you can go to Sherry, she'll come to me, I'll go to them, but any customer can go straight to our customer support channel and they will help them directly.
Perfect. And yeah, so that is stellaandchewys.com if you want to find out more information about the awesome stuff that they're doing. And like we said before, they've got all different kinds of products to fit individual needs for individual people and their pets, because not every pet's different. So,
Absolutely. Find what works and find what you can maintain and do consistently, and that will do wonders for your pet.
And I just want to add in here that you really want to try to get the least processed foods in your pet's diet, just like us. You don't want to live on McDonald's, you know. So less processed meat, less processed pet foods in general are going to be healthier. So, and that'll keep you out of the vet as much.
Yeah.
All right.
If it's designed is going to result in overall better health for sure.
Yes. So if anybody has more questions for me, our website's odysseypets.com. You can contact me through our Facebook page. You can email us at info@odysseypets.com. Or if you want to sign up for our newsletter, we email out once or twice a month. You can text OP Big T to 22828. And I think we are done for today. Thank you, Jason.
Yeah, thanks, Sherry. Thanks for having me.
All right. It's always good to see you, and we'll talk to you again soon.
That's good. Bye, everybody.
Bye.